everybody, welcome back to the Tomarosa. Springtime is fencing time. The ground is just right for digging, the weather's getting better, and we'll be grazing soon, so we got to get our fences back in shape. We got to clear some brush and fix some damage from the winter, whether it be down trees or where the deer ran through it. So come along as we get started on fixing up our fences.
As part of our fencing, we have some branches and other brush that we cleared from the fence line, and today we are going to hook up our chipper to our tractor and go chip that stuff up, and then I'll use those wood chips in the garden. Stacy's finishing hooking up the wood chipper. We bought this when we bought the tractor. We found that there was going to be times we were going to be clearing fence lines, and we did it at the same time we bought the tractor because it was a good deal. So we'll have the blue tractor with the wood chipper, we'll have the red tractor with our farm trailer, and that is what we are going to chip into. It's a 2-tractor day. Here we are out on our fence line.
First pile of brush.
This is the first pile of brush that Stacy cleared. Look how orange that wood is.
I know.
What is that?
I think it's some sort of birch. I figure I'll dry it and burn it.
This is our setup.
Safety brief, no hands, no face. Oh, and hearing protection. So this is Greg. He's a fellow farmer and also on the volunteer fire department with us. And he is also a dealer for timeless T-posts. So he convinced us to give them a try. Why would we choose this over a steel T-post?
So when you choose a timeless fence product post, you eliminate a lot of the problems that are associated with electric fencing. One of them is that the post itself, made out of PVC, recycled PVC, is a non-conductive material, and there's no insulators that you need to put on the post. The post is the insulator.
That is one issue we have with deer running through our fence.
Right. So
they'll hit the wire and then knock the insulator off the post, and then the wire's just hitting the post, rounding out.
Right. So if you're using electric fencing, one of the benefits about doing high tensile electric fence is your fence posts are spaced out much further apart. So you're saving a lot of time and labor in installing your fence. So it actually gets put up very quickly.
So what is the recommended spacing on these posts for a high tensile fence?
So for a high tensile fence, the general recommendation for a perimeter is 20 feet. We can go more than that or less than that, and it just depends on terrain, what kind of class of animals you want to keep in. Say, for example, cows, and your ground is pretty level, you can space posts out to 50 feet.
Do I need any special tools to put this in?
Nope, just a regular T-post driver, or you could use a 4-pound sledge, or even a gas-powered driver can put these posts into the ground. Just to show how durable this post is, one of the things I do with a lot of people is I challenge them to actually try to break my post. So, right here we'll just do a quick demonstration of how strong this post really is. So we're just laying it up against the tailgate, and we'll press down on it in my full weight, and it just comes back right up. So if the deer hits the fence, or a car hits the fence, or a tree hits the fence, once that object is removed, the fence will just come right back up.
I don't know how many steel T-posts I've had to straighten by putting in the hitch receiver and bending it back straight.
Yeah.
So this is a 5.5 foot post, so it'll be about 4 feet above the ground, and it is a little more expensive than a steel T-post, but with the spacing I think you can use less of them, and I think they'll hold up better, and you don't have the cost of insulators.
Yeah, and
as
so
well.
the posts are actually pre-drilled every 3 inches. We do paddocks with 4 foot timeless fence posts, and including wire, a run will be about 50 cents a foot. Depending on the class of animals on your perimeter and the posts and how many wires you want to use, the price can vary quite a bit. Another benefit of the timeless fence posts are they're much lighter. So we're in Stevens County, Washington, beautiful inland northwest, and I am an authorized reseller for timeless fence products, and I can help you out with any electric fence or timeless fence systems. If you want to get some more information, feel free to email me, or if you're not in Stevens County or in Spokane County, go to Timeless Fence Systems and look for an authorized reseller in your area.
It's time to work on some fences. Got the farm trailer all loaded up. Looks good, I love it. Well, it's certainly quieter to pound in than a steel T-post. I'd say the effort required to pound it into the ground is probably about the same. Love it. Well, in about 2 hours, we managed to drive 70 timeless T-posts. So it actually went really fast. Now that we have our timeless T-posts in, we got to fix a few of our gateways and corners and such, and then string wire through them.
Alright, it is another day on the Tomarosa for fencing. The other day, I think for about a week, the wind had just been blowing here. Every project we worked on outside, you know, the wind was just in your face, and that incessant wind, it just like, it made my cheeks all raw. I think I was like wind blown. And do you ever have that where you're like working, and you just don't need that added degree of difficulty? So we really wore ourselves out this last week working on projects outside. But today it is a little chilly, but thankfully not a lot of wind. So we're going to get back at working on our fencing project. Today we're going to try to finish off the main lane that goes from our barn out to our fields for our cows for grazing.
So we have two different kinds of wires we're using. This wire, which is the existing wire, is 14 gauge galvanized steel, just electric fence wire. But we want something with more visibility, so we're using this wire as our top wire now. This is what's called barbless cable, which is basically barbed wire without the barbs, and it's actually two strands of 12.5 gauge twisted together. For those who don't understand the numbers for wire gauges, in general, the lower the number, the thicker the wire is. So a 12.5 gauge wire is thicker than a 14 gauge wire.
We're reusing the 14 gauge electric wire from last year. So for those, we just have to pull them through the post.
To speed things up when we're running wires through the posts, to make sure we get the right hole and we don't have to count the hole on each post, I made this little jig, just a piece of scrap wood. I have a screw that I can sit right on top of the post here, and then I drew with a marker an arrow pointing to the hole that I want to run it through. So it's real easy. As you just walk on down the line, you just set this on every post, and you know which hole to run the wire through. So we got our wires all strung. As you can see, they're not super tight. This is more of a stopgap measure. At our gate openings, we use T-posts, and you just really can't pull against them very hard. So In the future, we do plan to replace those with wood posts and be able to stretch these a lot tighter, but at least we got them back up because they were all tore down after the deer this winter, and we have a usable lane.
It looks like we have a new member to our fencing team.
There's lots of different types of fences out there. Here on the Tomarosa, we have a few different types. So directly behind me is our pretty fence. It is a cedar split rail fence, but you notice we do have a hot wire running along the top just to keep the pressure off it. It could be classified as a physical barrier, but the hot wire adds that psychological part to it to keep the pressure off, because with fences you have physical barriers and psychological barriers. Usually the electric fence is a psychological barrier because it's not heavily constructed. The idea is the animals learn that it will shock them and they don't push against it or touch it. For our perimeter fence, we have, I guess it's more of a standard fence. It's 3 wires of barbless cable, and we also have 1 electric wire on there as well, and it's just standard H braces. And then finally, like our lanes and our paddock subdivision fences are strictly electric fences, single wire and many times. This is a standard H brace. It looks like an H. And so that's our corner post there. This is a brace post. And then we got this stringer across the top. And then we also have this diagonal brace wire, and we use an inline strainer to keep it tight. So what this does is this is pulling back against the corner post, which is counteracting the pull of the wires trying to go that way. Hey folks, we hate to leave you hanging, but we know we still have more fencing to do, and we wanted to get this video out to you. So in the meantime, we're going to get some cedar wood posts, rebuild some gates, get the wire stretched, and get ready to graze. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us on the Tomarosa.